I want you guys to understand that manifesting an SP is literally one of the easiest fucking things to manifest. I promise. That's probably one of the easiest things I ever manifested in the past was an SP. Now, if you know me, then you already know about how I manifested a SP in 11 days before, and it was really pretty simple. I used the whisper method personally. You do not have to use the whisper method. This was my first conscious manifestation. I just happened to come across a video that said, do this and manifest your SP fast. So I was like, okay, cool, bet. I didn't know anything pretty much about manifestation or law of assumption. I didn't have all these limiting beliefs instilled in my head about any of this shit. All I knew was, hey, do this and you'll manifest your SP fast. So I was doing the whisper method, and pretty much all that is just affirming thought transmission. So what I was doing is I was just whispering in his ear, you can't stop thinking about me, you will contact me. And I was just doing that over and over and over again. And that's pretty much just affirming, which is also pretty much just thought transmission. So that's all you really have to do. You don't have to do any technique or anything. You just want to think in your favor. That's it. Conscious thinking is literally just affirming. Affirming in general is not a technique. It's not a method. Now, robotic affirming, focused affirming, yes, that's a method. But you don't have to robotically affirm, just think in your favor. Pretty much what I did is I would do the whisper method a few times a day for about maybe like 10 minutes. I don't remember. It's been a few years since I did it. But in any time I would start being like, is this really possible? Is this really going to happen? I would do the whisper method again. I would start thinking in my favor again. I would just talk to him in my head. Like, I know you can't stop thinking about me. I know you want to contact me. And throughout the day, my inner conversations was about us being together. Like, our relationship is so amazing. Our relationship is so perfect. We're back together. Our family is back together. You know, he came back better than ever. Like, I was just thinking as if I already had this relationship. And 11 days later, he contacted me and we got back together. So it is really simple. Anytime you notice yourself starting to contradict yourself, you just be like, no, we're together. He's mine. I know he's in love with me. I know we're together. I know we have a perfect, amazing relationship. And I know he's the version that I want him to be. And something that did help me is that I wasn't interacting with him. Like, we really didn't talk outside of our child. Besides that, no, I was not entertaining any sort of old version of him. I was strictly in my consciousness. I was strictly in my imagination, seeing him exactly how I wanted to see him. I would also visualize us being together, spending time together, and him showing up exactly how I wanted him to show up. So I was living in my imagination, either visualizing or affirming or doing the whisper technique, but you don't have to do any special technique. You just pretty much have to think in your favor, and that's it. And if you stick to that, no matter what, you will get your shit quickly. And I did have a little bit of a crash out, literally an hour before he contacted me. Actually, it was about 45 minutes before he contacted me, but I was kind of frustrated because I was like, it's been 11 days. Why hasn't he contacted me? And I crashed out. I got frustrated and I was just like, had a little crash out. But then once I felt better, I got back into the state, did the whisper method again, and then like 45 minutes later, he contacted me. And that's the story of how I manifested a SP in 11 days. And you could do it too, because I promise, it is literally so easy. The 3D isn't against you. It's you. It's showing you who you believe yourself to be. Everything in your reality, every situation, every person, every result is just a reflection of who you think you are. If you think you're unwanted, the 3D mirrors that through people ignoring you. If you think you're abundant, the 3D mirrors that through unexpected money, gifts, and blessings. It's never random, it's never personal, it's always you being shown you. The 3D doesn't decide anything, okay? It is in charge of nothing. The 3D just follows your order. It just reflects the state you're dominantly in. That's it. Stop allowing the 3D to dictate you. Okay, so if you want your world to change, stop fighting the mirror. Don't argue with what you see. Don't react to the version of yourself being reflected back. Instead, decide who you are now. I am chosen. I am loved. I am rich. I am powerful. I am successful. And then assume that version of you is already real. Because the moment you do, your subconscious accepts it and the mirror has no choice but to follow. You don't need to fix the 3D. You only need to shift who you believe yourself to be. That's it. It's really that simple. When you change your concept of self, everything else has to rearrange. The 3D is not your enemy. It's your feedback. It's proof that you are the operant power, that everything is responding to your inner story. So stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, who am I being right now? Am I the version of myself that has it? Or am I being the version of myself that doesn't have it? Because when you choose to be the version of you who already has it, the 3D has to show it. A lot of people will tell me that they're struggling with time, but it is going to pass no matter what. Days are going to turn into nights. Nights are going to turn into days. But at the end of it all, you're not struggling with time. You're struggling with still thinking that you don't have it yet. You're not waiting for your manifestation. Your manifestation is waiting on you to assume that it's already done. And let me tell you something about time when it comes to manifesting. It's not real. In the 4D, time does not exist whatsoever, because in the 4D, manifestation is instant. The moment you decide it's yours, the bridge of events, bridge of incidents, whatever, it starts unfolding perfectly behind the scenes. The moment you decide it's yours, things start moving perfectly in your favor. Time is simply an illusion created by the 3D. That's all it is. And every time you say, I'm waiting, what you're really saying is, it's not mine yet. That's why it feels hard, because your subconscious is hearing your words. And it's saying, I'm still separate from it. I'm still separate from this desire that I want. But the second you decide it's already yours, you step out of time completely. You move from waiting to being. And being is where it all happens. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to force it. You just persist. You keep repeating, it's already mine, until your subconscious finally accepts it as fact. Then the 3D rushes to match that truth. Time doesn't delay you. Your assumption does. So let's drop the waiting energy. You can affirm whatever you want. I'm not waiting. It's already done. Time bends for me. My 3D is catching up to what's already mine. Every moment you stay in the end, reality starts rearranging itself for you, because you were never waiting for it. It was always waiting for you to assume that it's done. Because creation is finished. There's nothing left to do except for stay in the assumption that it's yours. And I use repetition. Repetition will help dissolve your feelings that you're still waiting. Repetition dissolves everything. It dissolves everything. So just keep going. You are infinite potential in human form. You are the source that everything flows from. You were never meant to settle. You were meant to command. So breathe it in. Let it sink into your being. You are fucking limitless. You always were. You always will be. You just forgot for a little while. But now it's time to remember. You were never meant to struggle. You were simply meant to create. You were meant to move through life with ease. To have love that feels like peace. Money that flows effortlessly, and confidence that never wavers. You were meant to walk through this world knowing that everything you desire is already yours. But somewhere along the way, you forgot that. We all did. You started believing you had to earn it, that you had to wait for it, that you had to deserve it. But you were born deserving. You were born powerful. We all were born fucking powerful. So let's stop normalizing lack. Stop normalizing waiting. Stop calling struggle reality. You're not here to survive. You're here to create. The only reason anything has ever felt hard is because you decided it was. You declared it difficult and the universe simply agreed. But the same way you decided that, you can decide again. You can choose ease. You can choose abundance. You could choose to live as the version of you who already has it all. Because the universe doesn't give you what you want. It mirrors what you assume. So the moment you assume, I am limitless, everything flows to me, my life is effortless, reality bends to that truth. You were never behind. You were never waiting for your power to activate. You were remembering it. And right now, in this exact moment, you're remembering who the fuck you are. You're right. You're doing something wrong. You're correct. Because when you are assuming and saying, I know I'm doing something wrong, you are choosing a reality where that is true for you. You are choosing a reality where you are doing something wrong, and you're not going to get your manifestation that way. It's not about how much you affirm. It's about your assumption. Okay? So you could say it 10,000 times, 50,000 times, 100,000 times. But if you're still assuming it's not working, that's the story your subconscious is accepting, because that's the reality you have chosen. You can affirm your ass off, but if in the background and outside of your affirming 10,000 times, you are saying it's not working, then it's not going to work. Shift from it's not working to it's already done. Shift from it's not working to of course it's working. I do everything right. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. It's already here. It's already done. It's already mine. Your subconscious doesn't question you. It accepts whatever you tell it, because your word is law. So again, when you say I must be doing something wrong, you're literally choosing that reality where you were doing something wrong. The 3D doesn't get to tell you what's real. You tell it. Okay, you are the cause. The 3D is effect, period. Every single thing you're saying right now is whatever you're currently assuming to be true. So your dominant story that you tell yourself, that is what's currently playing out. So I take that as the old story playing out until I make the new story dominant. Because whatever you are assuming to be true at this moment, whatever story is dominant at this moment is what is playing out. And that's why I like using repetition to make the new story dominant. So whatever my desire is, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. Let's say that's my affirmation, I am wealthy. Right now, let's say I'm currently in a very unwealthy mindset. I never have enough money. I'm always broke, blah, blah, blah. That's what's playing out because that's what I'm assuming to be true. But I'm affirming I am wealthy. I am wealthy. And until I make that my dominant story, until I claim that assumption to be true, the old story is going to be replaying instead. Okay, but the 3D is not more powerful than you. It's not permanent, and it definitely does not get the final fucking say. Reacting to the 3D only keeps you in the same loop. You react, you confirm, and boom, you keep creating the same thing over and over. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to fix the 3D. You don't chase it. You don't fight it. You decide. You are the one that decides what is true for you now. Okay? If you see something unfavorable, you can say no. This is how it is in my reality. Okay? You can see something you don't like and not accept it as true. And guess what? The 3D has no choice but to catch up to that decision. It has to. It's literally law. The 3D does not have free will. It's not random. It's not testing you. It's responding to you. Always. So when you say it's mine, it's done, it's already working in my favor, reality starts to rearrange itself behind the scenes. You don't have to see proof first. The proof comes after the assumption. You hold the assumption. The 3D obeys. Every single fucking time. So stop giving power to what you see right now. Stop saying it's not here yet or nothing's changing. Everything is changing the moment you say so. And then when you start saying nothing's changing, well, that starts rearranging also. Everything is moving in your favor the second you decide it is. Or everything stops moving in your favor the second you decide it's not moving. Your assumption is the command and the 3D is just following orders. That's the game. That's how this works. It's already yours. It's already done. The 3D has no choice but to obey you. Because it doesn't. It never did. You're the one in charge. Always. Always have been. Always will be. So simply just start thinking in your favor. There might be times when it seems like everything is going so great with your SP. And then maybe they say something that is completely off script of what you were expecting from them. You're thinking everything's going great. And then all of a sudden they just say something out of the blue. That's the opposite of what you want, right? Okay. So let's talk about that. Nothing is random. Okay, every single thing happening right now is feedback from your state. So let's say they did ask, let's say they said something or asked a question. Let's say that they said something like, we're not getting back together, right? Or, we're just going to be friends. Or they ask a strange question like, why are you still talking to me like we're together? Or just something wild that you don't want to experience, right? That question or that statement that they say has nothing to do with them. It's not about them. It's simply feedback from your state. Okay, so even though you're affirming for your desire, and then this happens, it's simply feedback from who you're still currently being and what you're still currently thinking. And that's just letting you know that, hey, you still have this assumption hanging around and this is what needs to be changed. Don't take it as a bad thing, okay? Don't take it as a bad thing. Take it as feedback. Take it as, hey, this is exactly what I need to change. I'm still entertaining the idea that this is temporary or that we're not together yet. And I need to double down and really decide that, no, we are together. This is just how it is now. There is no other option. But a big thing I want you guys to take from it is that the 3D is not out to get you. It's just reflecting you. Every word someone says, every delay, every reaction, it's all a mirror of your current assumptions of who you're currently being. If you're seeing indifference, it's mirroring your own doubt. If you're seeing love, consistency, and effort, it's because you're finally embodying the version of you who's loved, chosen, and secure. The moment you shift your state, your reality has to respond. It doesn't have a choice. The 3D doesn't create, it reflects. So instead of reacting to what you see or hear, use it as feedback. Ask yourself, what am I assuming right now for this to be showing up? And then replace that shit. like I said, you don't fight the 3D, you train your inner world and the mirror catches up, because when you hold the state, the reflection has to change. You're a loser in your own reality. You're losing in a reality that you built. You sit around begging for your desires instead of deciding they're yours. You keep waiting for proof when you are the proof. You say you believe in manifestation, but the moment the 3D doesn't obey, you fold. But the thing is, the 3D is always obeying. It's simply reflecting you and your assumptions. So if you're seeing something you don't like, change yourself, and the 3D will follow. You are not some helpless human hoping life goes your way. You're the one riding the way. You're literally commanding energy, and yet you've been using it to create lack, doubt, and waiting. You keep saying, I'll believe it when I see it. No. When you assume it's yours, that's when it shows up. You are the version who already has it, and you have it now. You just keep pretending you're not. You keep acting like a victim, like a loser in your own reality, when all along you've been the cause, the source, the operator of fucking everything. So stop crying about the 3D. Stop identifying as the version that gets ignored, doubted, or chosen last. Stop waiting for signs, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to choose you. Wake up, decide, remember, command it, own it. You built this world, now rule it. Decide you're that version now. Please stop focusing only on movement. You do not need to see proof right now, because everything is already moving in your favor. The universe literally started rearranging the moment you decided it was yours. The moment you said it's done, every person, event, and circumstance began shifting to line up with that new reality. You might not see it yet, but it's happening. It's always happening. It is instant in the 4D. Right now, people are thinking thoughts that lead them straight to you. Opportunities are aligning perfectly behind the scenes. Conversations are being guided in your favor. Energy is rearranging itself to match what you've declared true. You don't have to beg for proof. You don't have to keep checking the 3D. The 3D is literally just a reflection of you, okay? You've already done the work by deciding it's yours. It's already yours, and it's yours now. Keep with that assumption. So breathe, chill the fuck out, stop assuming it's not working just because it's quiet. The silence doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means everything is happening. The calm is proof that the shift has already taken place within you, and once it's real inside, it has to become real out there. You are the cause, the 3D is the reflection, and reflections always follow the image that creates them. So stop waiting, stop checking, just know it's already yours. The universe is rearranging in your favor right freaking now. All you have to do is stay in the knowing, because the moment you decided, it was done. I love when people say, but my SP has me blocked, we're in no contact, he said he hates me. Bitch, my SP put my ass in jail, and I still manifested him back. I don't care about your circumstances. Frankly, it's getting kind of frustrating to hear about all these circumstances, because I've literally been there, and it literally does not fucking matter. It only matters because you say it matters, and because you're accepting that shit as true. If you stop accepting it as true, that would not be what you're experiencing. It's only because you're allowing yourself to entertain that version of reality, and that's why it's showing up. When you stop giving it attention and putting your awareness on it, it will stop showing up, and you will get your shit. But I promise, your circumstances don't matter, because again, my SP put me in jail and I still manifested him back. So no, your circumstances are not special. And if you're constantly telling yourself, but it's so hard, okay, that's the version of reality you're choosing where it's hard. If you're saying it's impossible, I can't do this, it's not working, okay, again, that's the version of reality you are choosing, and that is what is going to be reflected. Stop saying that stuff. Stop identifying with it. Stop assuming it to be true. Stop it. You can rewire your entire mind. You can replace every limiting belief with an empowering one. You can condition yourself for success, for confidence, for abundance, just as easily as you were once conditioned for struggle, doubt, and lack. The process is the same. Repetition. I'm reading this from a book called The World is As You Are. And it goes on to say, transformation is about what you repeatedly tell yourself, repeatedly focus on, and repeatedly expect. If you tell yourself once, I am successful, but spend the rest of the day doubting, nothing changes. But if you tell yourself over and over, day after day, until it becomes your new default belief, reality will have no choice but to reflect it. Your mind is like a muscle. What you train strengthens. What you neglect weakens. Every thought you think is a repetition. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That repetition works. Repetition is making your new story that you want to experience the dominant story, the default story, your new identity, the version of reality that you want to experience. And that's when you're selecting. But if you could be affirming for your desire, 10-minute sessions 3 times a day, that's great. That's amazing. But if the rest of the day you're affirming, I don't have it, it's not here yet, and you're listening to your doubts and you're dwelling and wallowing in self-pity about the doubts, nothing will change because you have not yet changed. I love when people say that they can't manifest because their circumstances are impossible. They can't get out of the old story, blah, blah, blah. I was in a car accident 2 years ago that literally almost fucking killed me. I broke my neck and my back and had a few other injuries, but those were the most severe. I was in a neck brace, and the doctor told me, you're not healing. You're going to have surgery. So in that moment, I decided, no, I'm not having surgery because I was already out of work. Barely able to scrape by, went through my savings because I was out of work, and I was like, I really cannot afford to have surgery because I'm going to be out of work even fucking longer. So that's when I decided I'm not going to have surgery. I don't want to have surgery. I am healed and I'm healing myself. And I looked to Joe Dispenza, who had a similar incident, but his injuries were way worse. So that kind of put in my head that if somebody else can do it, so the fuck can I. And I read his book while healing myself, and I just kept telling myself I am healed. And I kept visualizing my doctor coming in and telling me, you know what, you actually don't need surgery. You're healed. You're good. You got this. And that's pretty much what I did and how I healed myself. But the thing is, the circumstances were in my face every fucking day. I was in a neck brace 24/7. I had to shower in a neck brace, sleep in a neck brace. Could not get comfortable for the life of me. It was really hard to put clothes on, really hard to shower, really hard to live my daily life. And then the pain of it, it was very uncomfortable. It was very painful. It was not fun. You know, I took Tylenol when needed, and that was about it. But I still kept sticking to the new story no matter what, because I'd be damned if I was about to have surgery on my neck. And that's pretty much how you get your shit. I think something a lot of people struggle with when manifesting an SP is missing them. And I want to start off by saying that missing somebody is normal. Even when you're in a relationship, you miss your SP. Let's say your SP is on a work trip. They're at work. They're away from you in that present moment. You're going to miss them just because they're not in your presence. So anytime I would miss my SP, I would just be like, oh, they're just at work. I'll see them later. You know, or I would affirm that the more I miss them, the more they're missing me. The more I think about them, the more they're thinking about me. Something else that helped me if I was missing them is visualizing. You do not have to visualize to manifest, but visualizing helped me personally to help me feel better when I was missing them. I would visualize us being together, spending time together, just, you know, being a regular couple, spending time together. That helped me a lot because visualizing for me personally helps me feel things better. I would be visualizing and I would catch myself smiling and feeling better and feeling happy and feeling loved and chosen and wanted. It's okay if you don't feel that way. You don't have to. It's not necessary. But me personally, visualizing does help me feel it. But again, you don't have to feel it to manifest. You don't have to visualize to manifest. You just have to think in your favor. But something else I would also do is I would visualize receiving a text message from him. I would visualize him pulling out his phone, typing out a message and sending it to me. And I would visualize myself receiving it and reading it and being like, oh, of course he misses me. That's just a few things I would do when I would miss my SP that really did help me a lot. So if you find yourself missing your SP, try to do something like that. You can simply affirm, I know I miss them because they're missing me too. And the more I miss them, the more they miss me. The more I think about them, the more they think about me. Or you can visualize also. Visualizing is a great tool. And if you can't visualize, that's okay. You don't have to. Something else I would do is thought transmission. Now, affirming itself is a form of thought transmission. If you're thinking about them and affirming for them, they're receiving your thoughts anyways. But I would look at a photo of my SP and I would just tell him what to do, tell him what to think, tell him what to feel. I'd be like, you literally cannot stop thinking about me. You will contact me. You're thinking about me right now. You miss me so much. Like, you can literally look at a photo or just visualize them in your head and talk to them. Tell them exactly what the fuck you want them to do, what you want them to think, what you want them to feel. It works. I promise. I need some of you to really understand that the law of assumption is literal. It takes you for your word, and your word is law. So whatever you say, your reality is not going to argue. It's not going to fight. It's literally going to be like, yes, and show up in ways to prove your assumption to be true. So whatever you are assuming to be true will be in your reality. There, you know, it's not your 3D reality cannot show things that you're not assuming to be true. It can literally only reflect your assumptions. It cannot go off script from what you were thinking in your mind. Okay, does that make sense? Your 3D reality has no control. It does not have a mind of its own. It is literally just a reflection of your consciousness, of your imagination, of your 4D reality. And that is the only reality, because anything created in consciousness is simply a reflection reflected into the 3D. That's all. So if you are experiencing something in the 3D, you created it first in consciousness. Say hi to Binks. Hi, meow meow. Yeah. Look at that face. She's tired of y'all. She's tired of y'all being like, I ain't got my shit. Your word is literal, so of course you don't, because you're assuming that to be true. Tell him, Binks. I need you guys to understand that affirming is not a technique. Affirming in general is just conscious thinking. So the conscious thoughts that you are currently aware of, those are affirmations. That's the story you're choosing to repeat. Now, robotic affirming, yes, absolutely. I do consider that a method. But affirming in general, no, it is not. So you absolutely do not have to do any techniques to manifest, because it's not the techniques that manifest. It is you. But you are always affirming. Always. Your words, affirmations. Your conscious thoughts, affirmations. So you're always doing it whether you want to or not. So, this is just for the people that's like, do I have to affirm all day? You don't have to robotically affirm all day, but you're still affirming all day, every day. We just want to think in our favor. Affirm in your favor. That's all you have to do. And when you repeatedly affirm in your favor and change your thoughts, you are eventually going to create a new version of yourself. You're going to be choosing a new version of yourself. You're changing your identity. And let me just say something that a lot of people don't understand, and I also didn't when I first started manifesting, and for the longest time after. It's not about effort, it's about identity. It's not about affirming more, it's not about doing more, it's not about doing more techniques, switching techniques. It's about identity. It's about becoming the version of yourself that already has it. That's what it's about. Alright guys, let's talk about this comment. Manifesting SP may not be difficult, but the problem arises when your SP is a womanizer and a cheater. I don't really believe that by changing our own beliefs and self-concept, we can change someone's personality. I want to start off by saying that you're not changing someone's personality. You're simply choosing a different version of them. And when you work on self and improve self-concept, that is reflected not just by SP, but everyone around you, everybody in your reality. But if you are seeing your SP as a womanizer and a cheater and a liar and whatever else, they have no choice but to reflect that, because nobody has free will in your reality. And it's not because you're manipulating them to be whatever you want them to be. It's simply because everyone is you pushed out. And if you know about Lawofassumption, you know about manifestation, you should know about everyone is you pushed out. And the thing is, if you believe in manifestation and you know that manifestation is real, then why not understand and believe that nobody has free will in your reality? And again, the reason they don't have free will is because they are a reflection of you. So if you're over here thinking that they are a womanizer, a cheater, whatever else, they have no choice but to reflect that, because they are simply a reflection of you. You write the script and they play that part. They cannot improv. They cannot go off script from what you give them. So, test it out. Change your thoughts about somebody. Truly change self. Change how you see somebody and see that be reflected. And then you'll understand, wow, everyone really is you pushed out. But if you're over here thinking that I truly don't believe that I can change somebody else by my beliefs, well, okay, you have every right to that belief, and I don't really know what else to say aside from that. But test it out. Give it a shot. Change your thoughts about self. I can understand it feels impossible when you're looking at their 3D behavior. But again, they are a reflection of our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about them. You're not changing their personality. You're simply changing your story about who they are to you. When your concept of yourself shifts, like I'm the version of myself who is always chosen, respected, and adored, they naturally start showing up differently in your reality. You're not fixing them. You're not manipulating them. You're not forcing them. You're aligning with the version of them that matches your new self-concept, and that's it. That's all it is. When you start telling yourself, I am loved, chosen, and adored, everybody, not just SP, will start reflecting that back to you. How do I get negative thoughts out of my head?
I want to say that it's never about getting the negative thoughts out of your head. It's never about not having doubts, negative thoughts, fears, worries. It's about not identifying with them. Those are just your ego. That's all that is. That's your ego trying to keep you in your comfort zone, trying to keep you safe, because that's what you're familiar with. Right now, you're familiar with a certain life because you have certain beliefs and assumptions. And when you try to get unfamiliar and you try to affirm and create the life, choose the life you do want, your ego is like, no, I'm going to pull you back into what we're familiar with. Your ego, I take it as my ego is afraid of the unknown. It's afraid of the unfamiliar. It's afraid of what it can't see. So it tries to pull you in with what you're used to, with what you're comfortable with. And I stopped identifying with my ego. You can give your ego a name. Mine's Patricia. My ego is Patricia. And anytime my ego would come up, like, I'm literally like, Patricia, not now. It's okay for me to have my life. It's okay for me to be happy. I'm allowed to be happy. I'm allowed to live the life I want to fucking live. And I would just talk to it, I guess, like an annoying best friend that's always up your butt. You know, I'd be like, get off my tail, leave me alone, whatever. Tell it to fuck off. But it's not about never having negative thoughts. Just don't identify with them. Don't accept them as true. You're always going to have negative thoughts. You have over 70,000 thoughts a day. Over 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. So you're going to have negative thoughts. Let them pass by. Don't identify with them. Don't dwell in them. They don't matter. Just tell yourself, that's not my thought. That's the old story. That's my ego. You don't have to think about the negative thoughts, which is pretty much just dwelling in them and accepting them as true. You don't have to do that. Let them pass by like a car or like a cloud, and then go on with your day. It's like intrusive thoughts. A lot of people have intrusive thoughts, and at this point, it's just kind of like, I'm literally like, that's not even me. I'm not even going to, whatever. I'm not going to entertain that thought. Because it does not align with who I want to be, with the life I want to choose. So, like, I've learned to do that with every negative thought, every doubt. Like, I'm not going to entertain it because it doesn't align with the version of myself who has my shit.
There are infinite versions of everyone, including your SP. So the version of your SP that is showing up distant, cold, and unsure only exists because you have accepted them that way. So stop saying they are avoidant or distant or whatever, because they only show up that way because you have decided they do. You keep saying and thinking they do. You have been trying to manifest them to change, but all you have to do is assume that they already did. When you stop needing them to text and start assuming they're already obsessed, the universe doesn't have a choice. Reality has to bend to match the story. Your SP is not separate from you. They are your reflection. And when you rewrite the story, they rewrite their behavior. Whatever story you are repeating is how they will show up. So change how you view them. Rewrite the script and choose one you want to experience.